Hello guys, here we are again to do some 8th grade math. So let's turn to section 8.4 in our books, which is page 336. Page 336, lesson 8.4. Okay, we are continuing to learn how to solve inequalities. This is something that you've done already. We're just adding one more step to make the problem just one step longer, but it's the same thing that we've already been doing. So I have two problems up here on the board already. These are from example 1 on page 336. So example 1A is this top one in blue, okay? Remember, our goal is to get this x right here all by itself. So we need to get rid of everything that's with it first, okay, on its side. Now, it's really important to remember that before we can deal with the 5, we have to get rid of any plain numbers first, okay? So before you can deal with the thing that has the x, you have to get rid of regular numbers, okay? So let's get rid of that -4. So the opposite of -4 is +4. So we're going to add our 4. That was a crazy 4. Okay, so this drops down. These would go away. We bring our sign down. 11 plus 4 is 15. Now, the only thing that's left with the x is a 5. So now we can get rid of that because that's the only thing left on this side. So 5 times x is what we have right now. So the opposite of multiplying is divide. Good. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. X is going to be greater than or equal to, and that answer would be 3. We did not switch the sign because we did not divide by a negative number. So our sign could stay exactly the same, okay? So x is greater than or equal to 3. We're not going to talk about the graphing right now. We'll do one of those in just a second, okay? So let's look at B. Example 1, letter B. All right, remember like the last time, we want to get our letter right here by itself. The problem is there's this regular number on that side already. So before we can deal with this, we need to get rid of that regular number. And that's the additional thing that we added for today's lesson, okay? So to get rid of a +7, we have to go a -7. Okay, this would drop down because we didn't do anything different with that. These would cancel. We have a less than sign, and a 9 minus a 7 is a 2. Okay? All right, so I'm going to jump up here because I know you're not going to be able to see what I write down there at the very bottom. So right now I have a y over a -6 and a less than and a 2. That's where we are right now, okay? So now I can deal with this because everything else is gone. If this is a divided by -6, the opposite of that would be to multiply by -6. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by -6. And I hear some of you telling me right now about this. We're going to do that in just 1 second, okay? 2 times -6 is -12. Now, quite a lot of you are forgetting this rule, and so I really want to point this out here. I just multiplied by a negative number. If I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to flip this sign around. So instead of less than, it's going to have to flip to a greater than. Okay, don't forget, it's only when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you got to flip your sign. Okay, so since I multiplied by a negative, I flipped that to go the opposite direction. Okay, that's example 1A and B. Let's move on to example number 2. Okay. This is the one where we'll talk about the graph and make sure we're remembering how to graph. We've done a lot of graphing in this chapter, so I think hopefully we'll be remembering it, but we'll review it again on this example, okay? All right, so which graph represents the solution of that problem? Before we know, we need to go ahead and solve that problem. So I've got a -7, and I have a times x plus 3, and it's less than or equal to 28. Okay, this one's a little bit more tricky because it has the parentheses, but don't be scared. We can do it. We know how to do this. It's no problem. When there's parentheses, that means it's multiplying, right? So we're going to do the opposite of multiply, which is what? Which is divide. Okay, so we're going to divide that thing by -7, okay? Because the opposite of multiply is divide, so we're going to divide by -7. I think they distributed first, but we can do it this way, it'll be fine. So we're gonna divide by -7. So we'll have an x plus 3. I divided by a negative number, so what happens to my sign there in the middle? Okay, we've got to flip that guy, all right? And what's 28 divided by -7? I think it's -4. Am I right? I don't know. Okay, so -4. Now we're almost done. This is x plus 3. How do I get rid of the plus 3? Subtract 3. Okay, I'm going to be fair and do that over here as well. X is going to be greater than or equal to -7. Okay, now they want us to pick which line is the correct one. Well, since it's also equal to, it's a filled in dot, which all of them are, so that doesn't help us narrow any down. Our answer is -7, so which letters have -7 in the graph? It looks like only A and B have -7, so I've narrowed it down to either being A or B. Our X is going to be greater than -7. So if I had a -7 right here on my number line, which way is greater? Okay, X being greater than is, everybody should be telling me it's that way, right? Okay, so which graph has that line going that direction? That would be B. So our answer for this problem would be B. Before I can pick the graph, I need to solve it to figure out what it is, okay? All right, our last example is example number 3. You're playing a video game and the mean score. What does mean? What does the word mean in math? It means average, right? Okay, remember for average, we add them all together and divide by how many there are, okay? So you need a mean score of at least 90. So at least, what does that mean? At least. At least. Okay, so at least means, boy, I have to have more than that, or I have to have at least equal to that or more, right? Okay, so we're going to find the mean score, and to do that we have to do the average. Well, so far from the little picture, remember they always trick us and put information by the picture. Don't forget to look at the picture. Okay, so we have a 95 and we have a 91 and we have a 77 and we have an 89, and we're going to play one more time, which is our X. And we're going to divide by how many times we played, which is 5. So our mean score, which is all of them added together, I added the X because we're going to do it one more time. We're going to play one more game. And I divided by 5 for a total of 5 games. All of them added together divided by 5 has to be at least 90. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve. What would you guys want to take care of first? Maybe adding all these crazy numbers together so it's not looking so wild up here. Okay, so let's do that. 95 plus 91 plus 77 plus 89. All of those added together equal 352. We still have a plus X. It's still over 5, and it still is all of this. All we did was combine all of these things right here together. Okay? All right, so now we're trying to get this X by itself. So what do you think we need to get rid of next? Before I can deal with this top part, I got to get rid of this bottom part. So divided by 5, the opposite of that would be to multiply it by 5, right? Multiply it by 5 over here to be fair. So 352 plus X is what I have over here, and 90 times 5 is 450, right? 9 times 5 is 45, and add my 0. Now what would I need to do next? Because this has to be by itself. Okay, I'm going to subtract 352. Good job. X is going to be greater than or equal to, and 450 minus 352 looks like it's 98. So on my next game, I have to score at least a 98 to get my mean to be what it needs to be, okay?